Ignition sequence start. Roger.
Hello, I'm Manus MacLean, and this is Brain Drain Newsroom. Today, we are looking at an array of immigration developments, from critical access issues and legal pushback to local human stories that bring the stakes into sharp focus. First, protective visa programs for victims of violence are endangered, putting thousands at risk. Second, a high-profile detention in Colorado reveals how multiple agencies can be involved in immigration enforcement. 3. A troubling benefit cut could leave refugees without essentials like SNAP and healthcare. 4th, in Dallas, a local community leader has been detained, sparking a groundswell of support. And 5th, in response to court delays, the U.S. Department of Defense is deploying military lawyers as temporary immigration judges. Let's start with how protective visas are slipping out of reach. According to the 19th News, programs designed to protect survivors of domestic violence and trafficking, including U, T, and VAWA visas, are weakening. These pathways enable vulnerable immigrant women to seek justice and stay in the United States safely. If these programs collapse, thousands will lose critical protections and face increased danger. These are not just immigration metrics, they're safety nets standing between stability and crisis. Next, ICE, DHS, and the violinist case. An unsettling story came out of Colorado Springs, where ICE agents arrested Utah violinist Dagan John Shin in mid-August, but they weren't alone. KUER reports that an agent from Homeland Security Investigations also participated in the operation. This case shows how local musicians and residents can find themselves caught between agencies, even when their profiles are far from criminal. It highlights how enforcement occasionally reaches into the cultural heart of our communities. Next. Refugees could lose SNAP and Medicaid. In Kansas and Missouri, a new federal law is jeopardizing food and healthcare agency access for refugees and asylum seekers. KCUR reports that many could lose eligibility for SNAP and Medicaid, programs that provide vital support for families trying to rebuild after fleeing danger. A society that accepts refugees must keep its social safety net intact, not unravel it. Next up, a community leader detained in Dallas. A plea for help is emerging from Dallas, where community leader and SMU graduate Omar Salazar was detained by ICE over the weekend. KERA News says his supporters have started fundraising to cover legal costs and help his family. Salazar is more than a name. He's a pillar of the neighborhood, and his detention is sending shockwaves through the community asking, how is enforcement serving the public good here? And in our last segment, military lawyers step in as immigration judges. Finally, to tackle overflowing backlogs, the Pentagon is stepping in and sending military lawyers to serve as immigration judges temporarily for 179 days. Reuters points out that while this may speed up hearings, the lawyers lack specialized immigration law training. Observers call it a mismatch akin to a cardiologist doing a hip replacement. Is speed worth sacrificing legal nuance and fairness? Why this matters? These stories underscore the complicated layers of U.S. immigration policy in 2025. Protective mechanisms are eroding just when they're needed most. Enforcement affects not only undocumented individuals, but also artists, families, and advocates. Program cuts can break the fragile foundations that refugees rely on to start over. Local leaders and communities are drawn into national policy not by choice, but by necessity. And when systems slow down, the government turns to unconventional solutions, raising questions about justice versus efficiency. It's a landscape of unfolding consequences, not just headlines. If this coverage matters to you, because immigration is more than politics, it's about people, safety, and justice, please subscribe and share. And if reporting like this is part of why you stay informed, consider supporting Brain Drain at braindrain.org/donate. I'm Manus MacLean. Thanks for watching and stay mindful.
Thanks for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed this and maybe even learned something new. If you did, don't just vanish into the algorithm. Hit like, subscribe, and follow us on social. It's the easiest way to support our work and make sure you never miss what's next. Want to stay in the loop without relying on big tech's mood swings? Sign up for our monthly newsletter. And if you've got the means, donations of any size keep our programs running strong. As a 501c3, your gift is tax deductible where the law allows. Together, we can turn Brain Drain into America's next big breakthrough.